So hey guys, welcome back to the lecture 2. In this lecture, we will be understanding how to adjust borders and margins of our element. We will be also learning about how to adjust padding, and we will be seeing by doing practical code that how these elements and properties work. So first important property that we will be learning today is making borders around your elements. So for this property, let's come back to our VS Code. And as you remember, I have written this particular code in the first lecture. We will be doing some changes in this particular code itself. Okay. So let me first tell you what exactly is the border property. The border property is like it has three things: style, color, and width. For example, if we want to create a red 5-pixel border around any HTML property, then we can just do that by, wait, let me give you a practical example. Suppose I want that this particular paragraph should be having a red border. Okay, so what I will be doing here is I will give him any particular class. Suppose I gave him red border so that it will be easy to remember later. I will write here red border. Okay, inside this, what we will be doing here is we will write border color. Sorry, we will be writing here border color. Suppose now my mood is changed. I don't want red. I will take aqua. So I will write here aqua. Then inside that I will write border width. And I want a width of around 10 pixels. Okay. And then I will write border styling. So suppose I want a solid style. Okay. So I will write it over here under my class name. So now let's have a look and see how exactly it will be looking. Okay. Now go live. Let's click on go live and we will be watching it. See, as you guys can see, we will be getting our border right over here because I have given him a very large width, so it's taken full path. Otherwise, we can adjust it using this property right here. Right, see, wait. What I will do here is I will reduce its width by 4 pixels. It will look a little thin. Right, yeah, just like that. So exactly like this, our border properties works out. Okay. Now let's do one thing, like we will give border to our image. We will be making rounded corners using our border radius property. Okay. So for this, what exactly I will be doing here is, let's first go to VS Code. And here I will write. What exactly I will write is border radius. Oh, suppose I want to give border radius to this particular image. Okay. So what I will be doing here is border radius of about, I will say, 10 pixels. Okay. And color, if you may ask, then color I will give it anywhere around color. We'll just copy paste this particular file and I will just paste this right here. Okay. Let me change the color, should be red. Right. So now let's have a look. As you guys can see, it has got some sort of border. It's became little curve. Okay. Now let's adjust the width of this image as well so that we can get to understand it better. Now you guys can see that it has got a border of around 10 pixels. Okay. So now what I will be doing here is All right. Border style, solid. So what it will do here, it will be visible. Like see, right now you can see this particular border is exactly visible throughout our image, just so that you can see better. So like this, we can give a border radius to any of the image and we can make it little curvy if you don't want any square or something, right? Like this, we can adjust it. And if you want that radius should be thick, then just do one thing. It uses this particular property, border radius width, and adjust it with, like I want 10 pixels width, right? Just use it and you will get a 10 pixels width. Like this, you can play with this border radius properties. Now let's do one thing. We will be making a circular image using the border radius property. Okay. For that, we will just do one thing. So what we will be doing here, now we will give a radius to this particular image and we will convert it into a circular shape. For doing that, it's just we have to go right here, okay, and in that border radius, we will give it around 50%. Okay. So what it will do, it will turn that into a circular shape. Right now it's changed into oval, but when I will increase its radius, it will turn into circular shape. Like this, you can adjust it, okay? By using these properties, you can adjust the radius and you can make any images like circular, oval, or however you want, okay? Yeah. Now here comes to another topic, that is adjusting, or you can say giving a particular color. Like I would in terms of CSS will say giving a background color to any of the website, right? So for giving any background color, just we have to do here is we will go here, like in my case I want to give a background color to the full HTML file, like full website. So I will come to this star and I will write here background color to be little Alice blue. Fancy name, right? We will adjust it a little bit to bluer side, and like this we will go and check out our website. You can say like this, we can give background color to all the elements, and if he doesn't want to give to all the elements, he just wants to give background color to a particular element. So for that, just select any of the image, like I want to give for this particular paragraph, background color should be this. So what will happen by this, that just see the space which the paragraph tag was the space which the paragraph tab was containing, all that space around this thing is, see, it's turned into like some sort of bluish color. Definitely it's not looking nice, but after understanding the more other properties, we can make it a little interesting, right? For now, what I will be doing here is, instead of giving to a particular container, I will give this color to the full file, okay, so that it will be not looking that much weird. So now what it is, giving IDs to element, okay, like till now we were dealing with classes, right? Now what we will be doing here, we will be giving IDs instead of classes. Sometimes like see, what I will be doing here is I will give an ID like para1 specific ID. If I want to change specifically in single para, and classes of all the paragraphs are same, I don't want that it should be changed. So we can do one thing, we can give a specific ID. Like for this particular case, I have given a paragraph 1 to this paragraph, and here I will give as para2, okay. And now I want to adjust. Now I want to adjust using ID. So what I will be doing here is I will put a star and I will write here para1. Inside this, now I can do any styling which I want. Like I want that font family should be somewhere around sans serif. I gave this. I don't want that for this particular paragraph that font should be same. So I can do it like this way. And what it will do here is, as you can see, wait, let me remove this property. So now you guys can better see that this particular first para, which I gave ID as para1, its font has been changed. So by using IDs, you can give styling to a particular element if you want. If you have given similar CSS to all the sim files, you can give a particular ID for this and you can style it. Okay. Now comes to our another topic, that is adjusting, padding adjustments. Like what exactly is padding? So let me show you an example. Suppose for that, let me make a container. Okay. Now we'll go for one. Inside this, okay, we will make as h1. Okay. Inside this h1, we will write padding. Okay. And then like similarly, we will create another one. Padding. Okay. Now let's give class to this element. I will be using a multi-line cursor. Box. And inside this box, I will give different names to them. Okay. Like for the box which is above, I will be giving it as red, or I will say blue. Okay. And for the box which is down below, I will give it as green. So now what I will do here is I will give them a styling, like style. Inside this style, what I will do here is I will write box blue. Okay. Inside this blue box, I will be giving them a class. Okay. That is, I will write background color as blue. Okay. And inside that, I will be writing as padding and px. Okay. Similarly, like this, I will give styling to another container. Green. And here also I will change its color to green. Right. So like this, we have given a basic styling to both of them. Okay. Now what I will be doing here is I will go out and I will check it. Okay. So for this, open with live server. And as you guys can see, this is how exactly our code is looking. Okay. Now we will go for inspect element. Okay. Then we will go here, and as you will see, this particular container, this blue box, has a padding of around 10 pixels. Now if I goes on styling and I increases its padding, like suppose I want its padding to be 9 pixels, or I want it to be somewhere around 100 pixels. So see, here I'm adjusting its padding and it's getting spaces like that. Okay. So in this particular blue box, it got a padding of around 73 pixels. Now let's come to the green box. Suppose I decreases its padding to, okay, minus. But technically it cannot have spaces in minus, right? So it had just shrink to its initial size. But now if I goes and if I just removes that, if I give it 150 pixels, so you can see this particular box, this particular container, okay, this particular has got a padding of around 150 pixels. Now what exactly is the margin, if you guys will ask, right? So what I will be doing here, I will give margin. So let me go on a code. I will make div dot here div dot, I will give her a class of margin. So what exactly it did here is I have made a div and I have placed all these heading inside that particular div. Now what I will be doing here, I will write here as margin, and inside this I will give it a margin of around 10 pixels. Okay, now let's save the code and see. Okay. So now let me show you. For this particular heading right here, blue box, we have got here a margin of about 10 pixels. If you want to adjust it, right, like suppose you want to make it 100. So this whole container has a padding of 100 pixels, and these two boxes are stored inside this div. So they are also getting shrinked. So like this margin and padding works. Later on, we will be understanding how exactly to deal with, how to play with margin and padding to adjust and align our items better, right? So I hope you guys have understood the concept of margin and padding. Margin provides the margin of like a border, kind of, you can say, throughout this particular div, and padding is inside the alignment of elements inside this particular div. So let me go on to another topic, which is adding different margins and padding to each sides of an element. So how exactly it works, like for this, what we will be doing here is we will be giving different margins and different paddings to each. Okay, like let me go on a VS Code here. What I will be writing, instead of padding, I will give as padding left 10 pixels. Okay, then I will write padding top 20 pixels. Like this, I will be writing padding bottom 30 pixels. Okay, like this, I'm giving a different padding to different sides of the element. Let me give this again 10 pixels. Okay, now let's see how exactly it's looking, right? So for this, you have to go and run it again. See, now if you will be seeing right here, you can see, let me inspect and it will make you better understand what exactly I'm talking about right here. What I did here is, for the green box, I give a padding of, you can see here, I have given here a padding of 20 pixels for the top, 10 pixels for left and right, and 30 pixels for down, right? If I will adjust it a little bit, this particular things will change. Now it has 90 pixels top. Like this, we can give multiple and different values to different parts. Now let's do the same thing with margin as well. Okay, let me just copy this and paste. Right, now let's save it and have a look. So as you guys can see right here, let me inspect it again. So let's go click on here, and here you can see for this whole container, we have got a margin of 20 pixels for top, 10 pixels for left and right, and 30 pixels for down. Like this same we can adjust with these elements, right? Like see, I gave 300 pixels to left and right. Like this, we can align items in a different way and we can play with them by adjusting their margin and pixels. Now let us understand the clockwise notations for specific padding and margin. What do you understand by this clockwise notations? Suppose you are making a very big and a large website. Okay, so you can't write the same 4 lines of code again and again every single time. It will be, quite difficult. So instead of that, there is a clockwise notation which will be little easy to understand. How it works exactly is we will write padding, okay, then we will give a value like 10 pixels, then we will write space 20 pixels, and we will write 30 pixels, and we will write 40 pixels. So it works in a clockwise direction, like top, then right, then bottom, then left. So what exactly I have wrote, it means that this first one, 10 pixels is for top, 20 pixels is for right, 30 pixels is for bottom padding, and 40 pixels for the left. Now let's check whether our code is working fine or not, and inspect. So if you guys will be watching right here, for this particular green box, we have got this similar padding. So this is how the clockwise notation of padding works. It's just you have to remember it in clockwise direction, top, right, bottom, and left. Like this, we can align and we can arrange and we can give the padding of the elements without writing multiple lines of code. Same thing works with margin as well. So instead of writing 4 lines of margin, we can just write it like this, copy, and instead of writing these 4 lines, we will just do paste and we will write here margin. So same thing will be working for margin as well, right? You can check it right here. Yeah, see 10, 20, 30, and 40. Like this, margin is also arranged. So this is exactly how the clockwise notation of padding and margin works. Okay, now let's see attribute selector to style the elements. So what exactly is the attribute selector? So let me show you a code that we did in the lecture 1. So in this code, let me show you. Let's come to this particular type. So in this form, which is right here, in this form, yeah, let me do some adjustments so that it will be better visible for you guys. I'll just remove this font, right? Now let's have a look. Okay, so for this particular form, as you guys can see here, I have made this particular radio button, house the Josh high and low. So now what we will be doing here, suppose if I want to give adjustments to these 3 elements. So here in VS Code, it is denoted a checkbox, right? So if I want to align or if I want to do some changes in that, what I will be doing here is I will go in the code style tag. I will go in the style tag, and there I will write as type equals to checkbox. Okay, so now for this type of checkbox, we have to arrange margin. Suppose I want to give a margin, okay, like 20 pixels for the top, 0 pixels for the right, 20 pixels again for the bottom, and 0 pixels for the left. Like this, I suppose I want to give styling to this checkbox, but I have not given any class, right? We can do this by the attribute selector property as well, right? Let me just run it again, go live, and here you can see we have got a border or we have got a margin of top and bottom. If it's not visible, let's do one thing as well right here. We will give 10 pixels on the left as well as 10 pixels on the right. Okay, so now let's have a look. So now it will be quite visible, like we have given a margin, okay, by using attribute selector property. This attribute selector property is very useful when we are making forms and all, right? And see, now there were 3 elements. I didn't had to give classes to any single one of them. Instead, I just wrote a type and I told them which particular type I'm talking about, and then we gave them a class, right? So now, understanding attribute selectors to style elements. Let me show you one more example regarding that. Now let me tell you little about what exactly are the different units that we can use to style. For example, like I will tell you, till now we were dealing with pixels in the style tag. Till now I have wrote, like, see, if I want to give styling to anybody, I will just wrote 4 pixels or 10 pixels. Okay, so it's just the unit which is denoted, or which explains the web browser how exactly we are giving, or we are telling him, like 4 pixels is the 4 pixel in our screen. It will give 4 pixels distance. Similarly, there are different units as well, which are named as relative units, like EM or REM, right? EM is mostly used in many websites, right? When we are working on multiple projects, you will see that in mostly all the websites they will be using EM. So EM is based on the size of element's font. Okay, it depends on the font of the element. We can use multiple properties, like suppose, let me go here, and instead of using 100 pixels, I will use 1.5 EM. Okay, and let's check our heading 2, which is red in color, how exactly it's wrote. So it became little small, 1.5 EM. Okay, let me increase it to 3 EM by, then it will make it a little bigger. So its size depends on the size of element. Okay. Similarly, there is one more property, it's called as rem, that is relative. It is exactly the same, but mostly users prefers rem or em. But for this particular course, we will be going on with pixels as well, because it's the default and it's quite easy to understand. So I hope you guys enjoyed this particular lecture, in which I told you about the border and margin and padding properties of CSS. If you like this video, then do share it and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next one. And in the next one, we will be learning more into the properties, and we will be seeing align, text alignment, and other things as well. So have a good day. See ya. Bye bye.